Happy Monday. Coming off a profitable first weekend in the MLB. Let's talk some more baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and I missed you guys. That's right. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. We are back to the grind, our first MLB week, full week, of the season. So I'm excited to get into it. As you guys know, a profitable weekend thanks to that 3-0 Sunday. But we'll go over the recap in just a little bit. Quick reminder, NBA Best Bets video will be out after this one for the Monday slate, so go check that one out. But of course, any graphics you see in this video are from an app called OUTLIER, the best betting research tool on the market today. I use this every single day, maybe too much. But if you guys want to try it out, all you got to do is click the link below and you get a 7-day free trial. You can use it for NBA or MLB. So let's get into it. Now, I usually give MLB fun fact, but this time I'm going to say you guys leave your best MLB fun fact down below. I need some new ones. I love reading fun facts in the MLB. So whatever you guys got, leave a comment below. But in this video, we're going to recap the weekend, and then we're going to go over those good and bad hitter matchups for the day. No pitcher strikeout matchups. Probably not going to do those for a little while until more data comes in. There's really nothing to go off of right now. But then, of course, we'll give you the full pitcher report, breakdown on the matchups, and then end it with some best bets and the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 40,000 subscribers. Let's get it rolling. And that means it's recap time. All right, there it is. The weekend, 7-4, up 1.18 units. Every single play was a half unit in case you missed it. I'll try to go over these briefly. I know some of you guys, this is a little long for you, but I like to go over these to kind of determine what was a good read, what happened, just so you guys know as well. But Hunter Brown over 15.5 outs. That was a nice win. It was a little tight. Luis Castillo under 17.5 outs. That was a pretty easy winner there. And then Dodgers minus 1.5. What a win to celebrate on late Friday night with Mookie Betts putting a ball into the darkness on a bottom of the 10th. It was insane, guys. As a home team, you can only win by more than one in extra innings with a home run, and Mookie got the job done. Yurfee had no chance. Those teams couldn't hit. Rafael Devers is right now is one of the worst hitters I've ever seen. Orioles team total over 3.5. Well, they've crushed it in 2 of the 3 games, just not the one game I bet. And then Ryan and Miller, 4+ Ks each. Unfortunately, some of you had to do 5+ Ks for Miller. He didn't have it. He got 4. He got me a win, but he did not get to 5. Seth Lugo over 16.5 outs. He threw a ton of balls. Sometimes when a pitcher gets out there and has no command, there's nothing we can do. I don't even remember what he went, but it wasn't that close. Vlad and Shohei 1+ hit each. I never thought I'd lose a bet because Shohei can't get a hit, but in his defense, he got walked twice. So it is what it is. That's baseball. And then we end Sunday with a beauty, a 3-0 day. Giants first 5 money line. They were up 1-0 after the first 5. It was tight, but Robbie Ray was good. That's for sure. Tanner Bybee under 17.5 outs. I didn't think this one was going to hit. I'm not going to lie. But he had a long AB with Bobby Witt. He was on out number 17. He walked Bobby Witt, mid-80s pitches, which is where I thought they'd leave him, or where I thought they'd take him out, and then they took him out for a lefty to face Vinny P, and he ended on 17. Gotta love it. Jacob deGrom under 6.5. He had 0 like the first 3 innings, and then all of a sudden he's up to 5, and then 6. And luckily, because they're trying to keep him healthy, he did not come back out for the 6th inning, and he ends on 6. So 2 wins on the hook and a 1-0 lead, and the Giants will take it either way, any way we can get it. So that's the weekend record. Again, I'm playing it safe, half unit plays. I do recommend that. MLB early season is one of the hardest things to bet in all sports. So overall record, 9-9, down 0.65 units. So that's what we got for the long-winded recap. And now it's time for the hitter matchups. All right, we got 9 good hitter matchups for the day, and we start out with Carlos Correa, 9 for 29 with 3 bombs off Martin Perez. But the news here is all Phillies hitters. Holy cow, there are 5 Phillies hitters of these 9. They have absolutely slaughtered German Marquez. 27 for, as you can see below, let's just summarize it. 27 for 67, 403 average for those 5 guys. That's Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, who is questionable, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, and Alec Boehm. I mean, it's wild to me. But Marquez, not a very good pitcher. He also hasn't pitched much lately, so we'll go over that later. Other than that, Byron Buxton, you see up there, 4 for 12. And then Marcelo Ozuna, who cashed a lot of tickets for us last year, 3 for 7, so on and so on. So that's what we got for all the good hitter matchups. And again, for right now, I'm just doing 7 or more ABs. Anything less is not really a big sample size. So that's what we got. Now let's check out the bad hitter matchups. And we do not have many. As you guys can tell, I only got 3. Ty France 3 for 15 with 4 Ks off Martin Perez. Newman, hello Newman, 3 for 19, 2 Ks versus Miles and Mikolas. And then Jorge Soler against Mikolas as well, 1 for 13 with 5 Ks. So that's what we got for the bats. Now let's talk the pitcher report. All right, here is page 1, and we start out with a beauty. Chris Paddock versus Martin Perez. Not a great matchup, honestly. 2 guys. We actually have a lot of guys that aren't big strikeout pitchers today, including those 2. Chris Bubich, great name, versus Elvin Rodriguez. Did not pitch last year. You know, Bubich has some definite swing and miss stuff, if I can get it out. 32.2% K rate, 4.1% walk rate. Again, this is all in only 30.1 innings last season, as you guys can tell there. But he's got some potential, that's for sure. And then we got Cade Povich going for the Baltimore Orioles. He was a rookie last year, and he struggled. 5.2 ERA, 79.2 innings, but he was a top prospect. We'll see if he turns it around this year. German Marquez, we just talked about him. Phillies hitters own him. Marquez, he did pitch last year, but not much. It was 4 innings. In fact, he has only pitched 24 innings since the year 2022. So all them crushing it was a few years ago, but I can't imagine he's much better, to be honest with you. Facing Christopher Sanchez, a solid lefty for the Phillies. 3.32 ERA last year, winning 11 games. And then Kumar Rocker, one of the top young pitchers that the Rangers are expecting a lot from. 25.5% K rate. Again, he only threw 11.2 innings last year. And then Brady Singer making his debut for the Reds, as you see there, coming over for the Royals. And then we got David Peterson versus Cal Quantrill. We'll talk about that matchup later. And then a guy I don't know much about for the Pittsburgh Pirates, to be honest with you. I think he was the bullpen guy a little bit last year. But Drew Rasmussen, if you guys don't know, he got hurt and missed the whole year last year, 28.2 innings, but he was solid before that. He's had some good numbers, as you guys can see, even just a short stint last year. Some good swing and miss stuff as well. But that's what we got for page 1. All the averages are on the bottom to help you out. Now let's check out page 2. And we start out with a promising youngster, Bowden Francis for the Toronto Blue Jays. Threw a no-hitter, I believe, last year. Going up against Mike Soroka, who finally started missing bats, but we took some of his props last year, like under 3.5 Ks, because he couldn't miss anything. But either way, and then we got Tyler Anderson versus Miles Mikolas. You guys know I've made fun of him many times over the course of last year, but he had a 5.5 ERA. It was not pretty. Sometimes he can throw a gem, but again, 2 guys under a 19% K rate, just not much there. Jordan Hicks, he was decent last year, had his moments, but an average K rate there. Ronel Blanco had his moments as well, kind of faltered a little bit more down the stretch, but 2.8 ERA. And then so on and so on. Not much there on the Ortiz-Hart matchup. Jackson Jobe, top prospect for the Detroit Tigers, facing my horrendous Mariners offense. And I mean horrendous. It is not pretty through the first 4 games, just like it was last year. Facing Emerson Hancock, who was a top prospect for us as well, but he has not proven he can miss any bats at all. In his 60 innings, how about a 14.7% K rate? That is horrendous. And then Estes versus Brown, just kind of a whatever matchup there. In Sacramento, not Oakland. And then Holmes versus Glasnow. Every pitcher the Dodgers put out is a superstar. So we know how good Glasnow can be. So anyways, that's my rambling. Hopefully this helps you out with, checking out matchups, starting your day with where you want to bet and things like that. So that's what we got for the research help. Now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Miami, Florida, where the Marlins host the New York Mets. Mets on the money line, minus 180. Marlins on the money line, plus 150, with a total of 8 runs. This first bet, I'm going on the run line. Give me the Mets minus 1.5, plus 100 on FanDuel for a half unit. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm taking the better team here. So, Marlins first series, if you missed it, they went 3-1. Kudos to them. Found ways to win. Every single game was decided by 1 run. They won 1 game in 12 innings by a run. Miami threw a couple guys out at home in this series. I think they even robbed a home run. I mean, everything that could go right did go right for them. Again, any way you can find a way to win is impressive. But they got a little lucky. Mets first series lost 2 of 3 to Houston, played 3 very low scoring games, 4 and 3 runs. The offense is loaded, and they're due to break out. And I think this is where we see it. But spot-wise, as I'm losing my voice again, Marlins used a lot of bullpen arms. So, I mean, first of all, the Marlins bullpen is nothing compared to the Mets bullpen. Mets had a day off yesterday. They are rested and ready to go. Starting pitcher matchup, the lefty David Peterson versus the first Christmas tree alert we have this season in Cal Quantrill. He should get lit up here. But David Peterson, he had a good season last year, 2.9 ERA. He was a little lucky with a 4.24 expected ERA. Not a guy who's just going to overpower you or anything like that. He did have a lower than average K rate, but he limits hard contact. And what he does do well, he gets a ton of ground balls. 52% ground ball rate last year. That's in the 91st percentile, which led him to be in the 94th percentile of home runs allowed. He is hard to hit a home run off of. Miami's going to have to earn it. So let's go to that Quantrill Christmas tree that we were talking about. He was terrible last year. 4.98 ERA, and even worse expected ERA, 5.64, and bottom 12 percentile and K rate and walk rate, 16.8% and a 10.5% walk rate. It is not pretty. Gave up 23 home runs. Again, he was pitching in Colorado, so I get it. It's a much better ballpark, but he is just not a guy who fools many hitters. We know this Mets offense is absolutely loaded. I think they finally tee off here and break out here against Cal Quantrill. Miami offense, good first series, but a lot of young guys here. It's not like they just hit the cover off the ball or anything. I think Peterson uses his veteran skills and getting some ground balls. I think he gets them down, gets them out, and I think this bullpen comes in and shuts them out. Like I said, they're all rested, and we have a ton of elite bullpen arms here for Miami. Final note, when you're doing a run line, you got the Mets on the road, which you love to see. That means they are guaranteed 9 at-bats because, you can be up by 1 if you're the home team and you don't have a chance to even hit in the ninth to go up by 2 or anything like that. So that's what you like to see. But again, this is about the Mets offense. I think they finally break out. I hope they finally break out and get to Quantrill and this Miami bullpen. I think they finally have Miami come back down to earth a little bit. So give me the Mets -1.5 as my first best bet. This next one takes us out to Sacramento. That's right, where the no-named A's host the Chicago Cubbies. Cubs on the money line -130, A's on the money line +110. My best bet, we got a player prop. Give me Ben Brown. That's right, over 5.5 Ks, -115 on DraftKings. Again, another half-unit play here. So when you're early in the season, sometimes some of these young guys, you just have to hopefully predict right because you don't have a big sample size. So let's talk about him and why I like it. He was a rookie last season, threw 55.1 innings. In those 55.1 innings, he had 64 Ks. If you didn't watch it at all, I had to go back and watch highlights because it was while I was sleeping. He came out of the bullpen as part of his routine to get ready for the season in Japan to face the LA Dodgers. And when I watched it, he was pretty nasty, that's for sure. He struck out 5 guys in just 2.2 innings. And by the way, that was against a very good Dodgers lineup. He did give up 2 earned runs and walk 3 as well, which we'll talk about. Hopefully, it goes down a little bit. But if you don't know much about him, throws upper 90s. He has a nasty curveball. I think they might even call it a knuckle curveball, honestly. But he threw 35 curveballs against the Dodgers that game, and he got 13 whiffs on that curveball. That's absolutely insane. Now, this A's lineup, obviously nowhere near what the Dodgers are. Definitely better than last season, but they still have a lot of high K guys in the bottom half of that lineup. Last year, if they want to know, versus righties, they had the 3rd highest strikeout rate in the MLB. So the key to cashing this bet for him is he's got to have his command. Like I said, he walked 3 against the Dodgers. If he comes out walking guys, can't find the zone, all that, obviously we're going to have problems. His pitch count will go up, and obviously it's hard to strike out guys when you're not throwing strikes. So that's the one thing we got to look at for, or make sure we watch out for when you are betting a young guy like this. It's a small sample size, so obviously this could make me look bad, but he also, I think, has the stuff to absolutely blow some of these lineups away. And so hopefully my eyes are telling me right, and what I saw in Japan tells me right. He won the 5th rotation spot for a reason, so let's see if he can get some Ks. So give me Ben Brown over 5.5 Ks as my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to Houston, Texas, where the Astros host the San Francisco Gigantes. Astros on the money line -120, Giants on the money line +100. We have a total of 8.5 runs here. I'm going to go with the first 5. Give me the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings at -110 on BetMGM for a half unit. Again, sometimes you might not see a ton of player props on these videos the night before. I'm going to try as much as I can, but there's not all the props out yet and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's talk about this one. We're sticking to the first 5 innings, not dealing with the bullpens. We have a starting pitcher matchup of Ronel Blanco versus Jordan Hicks. So let's talk about Blanco a little bit. He was elite last season in limiting hits, and I mean elite. 6.1 hits per 9 innings in the 96th percentile. That's pretty good. It's all about his command, though. He had a 10.2% walk rate, not very good. Now, in the offseason, what he's been doing in spring training, he said he's prioritizing attacking the strike zone. That doesn't mean you're automatically going to throw strikes, but at least he knows that's what he has to do. Maybe it leads to a few more hits, but less walks. I don't know what's going to happen. But as long as he has some command, he is a very not unhittable. He's a tough pitcher to hit. Last year, a 2.80 ERA with a 1.09 WHIP. You got to love to see that. And then Jordan Hicks. He converted from a reliever, or a really good reliever, to a starter last season for the Giants. Now, in the first half, he looked as good as we kind of thought he was going to, but then he wore down in the second half, which was totally expected. 3.79 ERA in the first half. How about a 6.14 ERA in the second half? An 8.8% walk rate in the first half, and a huge 15.3% walk rate in the second half. When your arm's going, when you're getting tired, you are going to walk more guys. Again, pretty common and expected when you have a guy going from reliever to starter. They don't throw that many innings usually. Now, all of a sudden, second half of the year, they're wearing down a little bit. He had a solid 1.59 ERA in March and April last season. He's another pitcher who's great at inducing ground balls, 50.2% ground ball rate, 87th percentile. This is a very good starting pitcher. So we're going to get him early in the season. Maybe he'll be better in the second half as well. But I like what I've seen from him so far. Offenses, Astros starting out cold so far. Doesn't, again, it's baseball. Doesn't mean they can't have one game where they turn it on. They obviously have a good offense, but they started out cold last season as well. In the 3 games versus the Mets, they only scored 6 total runs. Remember, they are missing guys like Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman, so we'll see when the new guys can really get going. But Giants also, on the other side, got to hit in Cincy, one of the best hitters ballparks in the entire league. They hit decent, but again, facing Blanco and this Houston Astros bullpen, we're not going to see the bullpen, but facing Blanco in Houston is going to be a little bit different task than going in Cincinnati. So again, not a lot of data for these offenses. If you want to look at Giants last year, they were 23rd overall in WRC plus. That's weighted runs created plus for overall offensive number versus righties last year. So, I'm not expecting them to all of a sudden be a top 10 offense or anything. I still think they're going to be middle of the pack, maybe below middle of the pack. So overall, as long as these two guys can throw strikes, I don't see a ton of hits off them. I don't see a ton of base runners. So give me the under 4.5 in the first 5 innings. That is my third and final best bet. Again, added plays will be coming. Check the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, before we get to the recap, just a heads up. Last year, we did some good hitter matchups at the end, like 2 or 3 hitters that I really like to bet on, and we talk about them. I will eventually do that as we get more data and things like that, just to let you guys know. And then who's on fire and all that will be coming later this week as well. So we got a lot of info for you guys. But here we go. Mets minus 1.5 for a half unit. Ben Brown going with the second-year guy over 5.5 Ks. That is a half unit. And then under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings, San Francisco and Houston minus 110 for a half unit. That's what we got. Thank you guys for watching, as always, as we are now starting this long grind of an MLB season. Again, go check out the NBA video when you get a chance. I appreciate the support, but hope you guys have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.